Susan Roberti, and welcome. Welcome to Let's Talk Tail Waggers. I have a very, very kind and loving guest today. But before I get started, I want to say thank you to my cameraman. Thank you, Dave. You know, BPTV is all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up, do a show, learn camera work. Doing a show's a ball. I promise. Once you do one, you'll get hooked, and you'll be back and back and back, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. And camera work, it's nice. You come up and stand behind the camera and get to listen to what they're talking about, and you learn an awful lot. BPTV is a wonderful little corner of the world. So you are always invited to stop up and see us. And hi. And your name is?
Bob Fragasso.
And what are we here about today?
Well, we're here about animal welfare and why it matters to the viewers.
Very good. And this little guy's name?
Oh, this is Shane. This is a nice little boy who's not sure why he's here, but he's having a good time with everybody making a fuss over him.
Yeah, I know. He's got the dearest little look on his face.
He does.
And he cries a little bit or he'll grunt. Now, what's his story?
Well, it's an interesting story, and it's ended happily. Shane was a stray in West Virginia, and he was found by a rescue group, and they took care of him, and somehow he found his way to Orphans of the Storm, which is in Katanning. It's a no-kill shelter, and they're a partner of a shelter that I serve on the board, and where I serve on the board, and that's Animal Friends in Ohio Township, north of Pittsburgh. Shane went to Orphans of the Storm. Orphans has a very old shelter, and it's on a floodplain, and it floods periodically. Now, they're in the process of looking to build a new shelter. That's a capital campaign they're starting. But right now, the story is that the shelter flooded, and Animal Friends took in a lot of their animals because, of course, they couldn't stay in the old shelter. They put as many as they could out in foster care, and foster care for shelters is a lifesaver. So anyone who's without their dog or their cat and you travel a lot, a good way to spend your time when you're at home is fostering from a shelter. Little guys like this one here.
Aww, he's adorable.
So Shane ended up at Animal Friends, and I was doing a program at Animal Friends about 1.5 years ago on a program we have there called Pets for Vets, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But Shane was, in effect, a prop. And so we were talking about Pets for Vets, and Shane was there, and the next day, the shelter called and said, we're taking in a hoarding case, people that have too many animals in their home, and they're not treated well. 20 little dogs. And they said, we don't have enough cage space. Will you foster Shane? So, of course, my wife said, of course. She went right out, and she made the mistake of going to a symposium over the weekend with a friend, business symposium. And we were supposed to give Shane back. And, of course, by the time she got back, Shane was permanent.
Another foster failure.
Another failed foster. That's
Yeah,
that is a problem.
How wonderful.
But that's only, you choose that. You know, the animal doesn't choose it, you choose it.
Yeah.
But little Shane, we found out, had lost weight, and so we had him checked at our vet. And part of it was x-ray to see if there was anything internal. Well, little Shane notice his mouth. He has only one tooth. We don't know how all of the teeth were pulled, whatever that was, teeth problems. Some were back. But the really sad thing is Shane has 20 BBs in his little body, tiny little BBs.
He still does?
Still does, can't take him out. So someone had shot him evidently with bird shot.
And having a good time. I guess they were just having fun.
Well, I'd like to think it was an accident and he got in the wrong place, but it could have been intentional, but we have no way of knowing.
No, because you'll never find out the true story.
It's down there somewhere in West Virginia and nobody knows. But the good thing is Shane is healthy, he's regained his weight, he's happy, he lives with his dog and cat brothers and sisters, and he's enjoying life. Right now he thinks he's at the vet. He was afraid of this building when I brought him in. He thought he was
honey, you're not at the vet.
I think he figured it out. Now look how he's playing to the camera.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's
is. Yeah.
Look at his
He
ears.
does that with
You
people,
know
right.
something? They all do.
He's
don't they?
actually the smartest of our dogs. He
Oh,
is
well,
so smart. He figures everything out. Yeah.
Well, sure.
So he knows. He says that's
And
me.
I
knows
owe
you're
you
talking
an
about him.
apology.
Why?
Because I didn't say Susie's here.
Well, everybody knows Susie's here, so hi, everybody.
No, I'm very, very sorry.
no,
This
no.
is our girl Susie Smith, and she comes every so often to visit, and she's a true, true lover of animals too. So I apologize and
no.
say Susie's here.
Okay, the other Susie's here today.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Now, what are we going? Aw.
Yeah, he'll just be here. He'll
Now,
be
who
nice
does
and
he
governable.
sleep with? Does he brothers and sisters?
Yes, and us.
Yeah.
And on a cold night, he burrows under the covers.
I knew it. I knew you were. I knew you were a little bum. My grandmother, and this is a true story. She was the love of my life, true love of my life. She always had a little one like this, and from the time I ever knew her, and all the years until she passed away, but she always named it Tinky. When the other one died, she got another Tinky. So she had Tinky 1, Tinky 2.
How high did she get for Tinkies?
Oh, I think probably about 24, because she was 90-something
Oh
years
my!
old when she
Well,
died.
good for her. She had
Yeah.
a good heart.
Yeah, but she'd go and get one from the Humane Society, little guy, and bring it back, and she'd say, "All right, you're Tinky," and that was his name was Tinky. If it was a girl, if it was a boy, it was
Didn't
Tinky.
matter. Well-
yeah. So when I walked in the door today,
Oh, he
I
thought he
thought-
recognized you.
That's
He
good.
responded right away.
I know. He said, my grandmother said, say hi to my granddaughter.
There you go.
Yeah, I do believe they do that. So what do you want to talk about now?
Well, we were going to talk about several things. You and we had discussed by telephone. We want to talk about why rescue. Why should people care? The feral cat issue that occurs everywhere, and that's something that we'll spend a few minutes on each one. And then the last is the Pets for Vets program at Animal Friends, but also at other shelters. I think why adopt is the place to start. There are no comprehensive estimates that are done where people go around with a clipboard and computers and figure it all out. But the best estimates are done by the Nathan Winograd Institute, which is promotes no-kill adoption. And somewhere between 3 and 4 million animals are euthanized in our country every year. No, wait, 3 to 4 million. And most of them are good companion animals. There's just an oversupply.
Yeah, and I don't know how to say it, so nobody will get mad at me. But sometimes I think if they're going to spend a year, 2 years, or whatever, then they get cage crazy. You know, sometimes you just have to give them back to God. And I know people get really upset with me, but I mean that's not. But for 5 years
and you know
or
what,
whatever.
Susan, that's a legitimate position to hold, but part of that is because of the facilities in which they're held. See, there are a lot of shelters in our area, and many of them are what's called no-kill. Now, there is no shelter that is absolutely no-kill,
Right.
because a very small percentage of the animals that are taken in, and I say again, small percentage of the animals that are taken in are not adoptable. The largest percentage are adoptable, but we have too many. So the shelters that are trying their best to do, so the no-kill shelters are, quote, no-kill. They only euthanize in a case of dangerous to themselves or others, or damaged beyond possible repair, or ill beyond possible healing. Then those legitimately should be given what's called the
Back
good
to
death,
God.
which is euthanasia.
You're right.
And that's a kind thing. But most of them can be adopted. We've got, if you think back to high school algebra, we have an equation. It's supply and demand. Everything in life is about supply and demand. So if we can lessen the supply, and the gold standard for doing that is spaying and neutering your pet. You must spay and neuter your pet. It's not kind to allow them to go unaltered.
No.
If you're going to breed and you're a legitimate breeder and you're using Kennel Association standards, absolutely. That's your business and that's a good thing to do. But for most people, spay or neuter your pet. You will cut down on the supply and you'll therefore cut down on some of the, in the future, the 3 or 4 million. Because those numbers have come down from 11 million in 1970. That's great progress. It's too slow. If we spay and neuter, then we're going to do it quicker.
Yeah.
The other part of the equation is demand, supply and demand. So we increase demand. And you do that with promotion, publicity. You're doing it right here. You're helping. A lot of the animals that you showcase here become adopted simply because people were aware of them.
Well,
Yes.
Susie's had this show for 20 years, and that's a long time to volunteer. And
Hundreds of animals were adopted as a result. I can guarantee it.
so many.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you for
many.
doing it.
But how do we get to the point where people have to spay and neuter their pets? Because I deal with this all the time, talking with people that just, oh, I love kittens, you know, I love cats, or I love puppies. Well, everybody does, but we have to draw the line
Right.
because so many
Well, if
dogs.
they went to find a euthanasia facility or animal control facility where they kill them, they would
And
realize why
say-
they should
and
spay
the
and
law,
neuter.
and there are people that say, "Oh, well, I don't want to do that to them." You know, take their testicles, or,
Like it
you know,
changes
yeah,
them or
like it.
something.
Oh, yeah,
I've heard
it's,
that, too.
It's evil.
Yeah.
I'm a man, and I would never want anybody to do that to me. And it doesn't have anything to do with that. It does make them a little bit more pleasant if you do a
And
meal.
it reduces future disease in the animal itself.
Cancer.
You have less disease by an animal
Yeah.
that's been neutered.
Yes.
But you have to understand that a female dog or a female cat can have 55 offspring, average, in a productive lifetime.
Here we go.
And then 55 each have 55
55.
more. Pretty soon you're talking about 500,000.
Remember
Yeah.
you did that? That one we did. that
So
one
the man
time?
who said that, if he's going to have 55 offspring, I'll take him to the hospital for a vasectomy
Yeah.
because he's overpopulating the world.
Well, and it's so cruel. It's beyond cruel. I know you say it's okay, you know, for reputable breeders, and I just don't understand that whole thing. And being a dog groomer for 40 years, I just really didn't enjoy dog shows. You know,
Well,
just because
Susie, we're a free country and we can't tell people not
What
to do
to do.
things.
Right.
But we can educate. And the
That's
more
what
we educate, the more people come around to that. So the spaying and neutering, inoculating, and let's jump over to feral cats, and then we can talk about some other things like Pets for Vets. Feral cats, they exist in any green space, in your neighborhood, in the county parks, in the city parks. We talk with county leaders, we talk with city leaders. They're in sympathy and in harmony with a national protocol that is trap, spay, neuter, inoculate, adopt if possible. Here's the big part, re-release after that. Put them back from where they came.
Okay.
Why? And you say, well, why don't you, if they're not adoptable, kill them. That's a void. It'll just be filled again with unaltered animals.
Exactly.
right.
And it's a never ending. And I've had this conversation with municipal leaders, and the enlightened municipal leaders have come around to this way of thinking. The
And if they're-
unenlightened are back in the Stone
And
Age.
if they're a feral cat, and you get them, they bring them in and they clean them up and fix them and send them back to where they'll live there all the days of their life because they're used to that. Unless it's somebody that's cruel and just add them and drop them off because
people do.
Yeah,
People do.
that's bad. But there are ones. We have some up on Industrial Boulevard that were born there. And we took them, you know, caught them and took them and had
That's
them
a
fixed and
responsible
that.
thing to do. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh, you're welcome. And two aren't with us anymore. That they passed away from age, but we still have the one, and it's very happy because he has all the old cars up there, and all, you know, and his fur's this thick, and he's happy.
And
he
he's
truly
not
is.
making any more.
He also
babies.
keeps the vermin out. If you look, and there's a colony, fairly large set of colonies not far from here that we're managing through this program that Animal Friends is doing at its own cost. It's not costing the taxpayer anything, and it's in public land. And before this, before the cats were there, the drainage pipes were full of rats. Well, rats have to live too, but you're talking about uninoculated rats or inoculated spayed and neutered cats that keep the rats away. Give me your first guess on which you'd rather have.
Exactly.
And if you remove the cats, then other things come and fill the void, or other cats come and fill the void, and they're not spayed or neutered. And pretty soon you've got many colonies.
It's true.
So colony management is the answer, not gassing for
Right.
poor animals.
Yeah, and if you get the breeders that I've known, when you get them, we just got a kitten, and when you get it, you have to have it spayed that
It's a requirement at any responsible
yeah,
breeder.
you sign papers that that's what you're going to do. You know, and that's what it should be with dogs. And that's why we have so many of these crazy big dogs, because nobody's caring enough, you know, to say you have to have these dogs neutered.
We go through periods of overpopularity. When I was growing up, it was Cocker Spaniels, the nicest dogs, until they were overbred and they became mean as a result.
And boxers.
And then we went through, and now we're
It used
looking
to be
at
boxer, Cocker Spaniel, boxer, Cocker Spaniel.
And now there's a general category called Pit Bull, which is really a collection of several different breeds or a mixture of breeds. And I got to tell you something, the original use of a Pit Bull, the original name, look it up, was nanny dog. They took care of kids.
It's true.
Little
But
rascals.
you've got irresponsible, yeah,
rascals.
exactly. But with irresponsible owners and then the overbreeding, and they love to please their owners, so they'll do whatever you want them to do. So if you want them to do bad things, they'll do it.
And they breed them. They breed them to get bigger and bigger and stronger. And it's so sad for that animal, because people have this horrible thoughts about them. It's not their
It's not
fault.
the animal. That's right.
You know, it's the people that bred them to get them this.
Now, I'll also mention that we do have a problem here. We have a problem in West Virginia, Ohio, and really in every state. And that is dog fighting tied to the drug trade.
Oh, God.
It's completely linked together. So that's something where citizens, being aware, can report to their local police. You can report to the main officer at the Animal Rescue League or at Animal Friends if you're aware of it, because they both agencies maintain
We could
humane
put those
officers in
numbers
the
up
field.
at the
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah,
show.
we can do that.
I would like to talk to someone that does that, fights them, because I just want to know, how can you stand there and hear animals scream? And they do.
That's a
They
show
fight,
all in itself.
And they
Oh.
scream. How can
Really, they're maimed.
their-
It's very
their
bad. And we don't
minds-
want to go too
this
far
human
into
be-
that because it's
this,
gruesome.
Yeah, this human being's mind, there's got to be something wrong.
Well, it's an organized trade, but that's something that we can't do anything about, except if you suspect
See
it,
it.
if you see strange things going on in a house, lights at night, or an empty house where somebody strung an extension cord and their lights at night, they're not fixing the basement. They're
No.
probably doing dog fighting down
That's a
there, so
good-
call the police.
That's a good
right.
idea.
But let's go to a happier subject.
Very.
Okay, let's go to Pets for Vets. How about
Yes,
that one?
yes.
Okay. Pets for Vets is a program that, and we'll have the brochures here, and we'll maybe get a view of it later in the with the camera. I gave you a statistic of 3 to 4 million, mostly good companion animals, being killed unnecessarily. Well, by the same kind of analysis, we have 22 veteran suicides a day. Put those two together. So Pets for Vets is meant to address both of those. So Pets for Vets at Animal Friends takes shelter animals and trains them to be emotional support companions for returning veterans who have a physical or an emotional obstacle. And it works. It's working all over the country, and it's working here. And the animal is selected by a trainer, and we have trainers, and we need more trainers at Animal Friends. They're paid for their work. It's free to the veteran, and Animal Friends, there's a memorial fund that pays, established there, that pays for the trainers. So if you're a trainer and you would like to participate in this program, contact Animal Friends. You can go to thinkingoutsidethecage.org, and you'll see it there. So Animal Friends for Veterans is an overall phrase, and it refers to the Pets for Vets program, which really works. So trainers and contributors go to thinkingoutsidethecage.org. If you're a veteran and you think you could benefit from the companionship of a dog, a cat, or a bunny, then go to thinkingoutsidethecage.org. It's all there. If you are a veteran that doesn't feel you have an impairment but could benefit from companionship, part of Animal Friends for Veterans is we waive the adoption fee for you. No adoption fee. The animal is spayed or neutered, totally inoculated, behavior tested, ready for your home. So if you're a veteran, come on out to Animal Friends or go to your local shelter and ask them if they have a similar program. I think Washington County has one, I believe, right
Pets
now.
for U.S. Vets.
Pets for U.S. Vets. So wherever you are, adopt from your shelter. But if you're a veteran, bring that up and see what might be done. If you're a veteran that feels you have a special emotional need that can be helped by a companion animal, dog, cat, or bunny, then we're going to give you a trained animal, trained to your unique needs. So it's a great program.
That's a wonderful program.
That is sensational, because these young men that come back home really,
And women.
yeah, they need a person.
Can I take him?
Honey,
He's getting bored on my lap.
here you go.
Oh, come see.
Go see Aunt Susie.
They
They need some. I feel too about a dog
Daddy.
or a bunny or a cat. These young men need a secret keeper, and animals are.
That's a good way to put it.
They are secret keepers.
My grown daughters still talk about taking the dog. They took turns taking the dog up to the room when they came home from school when they had a problem, and they talked to the dog. Absolutely.
You do. And I groomed for 40 years too. And I was by myself. I did a beautiful job. I bought a home. I just loved it, but my hands just can't do it more. And people would come in my shop. They thought I was talking to somebody in the back room, and they'd come in and say, "Excuse me, oh, are you talking to that dog?" But you do,
Sure.
And if you are a dog owner, you have to admit you do talk to them when you're there by yourself. And my mom used to say, when you start talking, she had a dog named Pepper.
No, the problem might be if you hear the dog talking back to you. Then.
Yeah, if you start talking. But these young men need, and the touch, we all know, just the touch of an
Exactly.
animal is
you.
warming and endearing. So I congratulate you on your.
Well, we're
Pets
all
for
doing
Vets.
this together, right?
Yeah.
We're all pulling together, and
That's right.
and I'd like to mention a mutual friend of ours,
Oh, she bears mentioning. Go ahead.
Peggy Buckley, because Peggy Buckley
Oh, God,
is she's like the hub of all the rescues. Every rescue I've been involved in has contacted
Me too.
Peggy Buckley.
Me too.
And
Me too.
she's hi Peggy.
Yes, Peg, you're an angel.
She is an angel, and I just wanted to say, give her a little head nod, because she really does a lot of good work, keeping us all kind of tied together, as far as who needs adopted, what's going on.
And they're
She
really
overcomes any obstacle, and she's there all the time for the animals. I'm sorry.
Oh no, they're really finding out, which you knew and I knew and Susie knew, about how much these dogs can do. Can be trained to do for someone that's handicapped.
absolutely.
And you knew it, I knew it, Susie knew it. But all of a sudden now it's this big, wild, crazy thing. They will do anything that you ask them to do.
That's right.
And all you have to do is have love and patience, and love and
Right.
patience.
There's no question. Well, within a matter of 6 weeks in the Pets for Vets program, the trainer will train the dog and again, you can train a cat or a bunny too, but the dog, in this case we're talking about, can be trained to adapt to someone in wheelchairs, someone who has a sleep machine, sleep apnea machine, someone who wakes up with night terrors. The dog can be trained to deal with that. Now, this is not a medical service dog. That's a different. And my good friend Tony Accomando has that program,
Wow.
where he provides medical service dogs, life-saving service dogs. Those are very, very expensive dogs, and he's raising money for that. So life-saving service dogs is a very good program, and that is a dog that normally they're raised from puppyhood. Specifically, like seeing eye dog would be an example, but this would be for any medical need.
Yeah, they can smell someone's going to have
They hit
a
the button to
seizure.
call 911. They get the insulin. This is special training.
Yeah.
We're talking about, in this case, Pets for Vets is an emotional support, and they can be trained for the things we just talked about.
Yeah, and a lot of times when the guys come in down, or ladies come in down at Washington Area Humane Society, they go in and the dog picks them.
Oh yeah, and Susie.
Oh, they
just-
always pick you. You don't pick the animal.
Oh,
Don't
no.
kid yourself that you pick the animal. They pick you.
You try to walk by, and that
Yeah.
eye contact is
Right.
there.
And,
Right.
and we got from down at Washington Area Humane Society, we got a cat, and she was calico, but she was iridescent oranges and grays and almonds. She was gorgeous, And she used to hypnotize the men that would walk past at my house, because I live on the circle, and I'd look out the window, and there'd be some man out there. Oh, aren't you just so beautiful? And she'd just sit there, you know, and mesmerize them. And we called her Nitsa because she was so neat, so we called her Nitsa. But
They bring a lot to life.
oh,
just-
you know, and
He's precious. Look, and see, I'm calmed down now. They have such a
yeah.
calming effect.
Oh, your blood pressure's lower. There's no
Yeah, I
question.
can
That's a
tell.
medical
It's just-
fact.
You know, Susie and I were talking last week about the German Shepherd that won the dog show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's going to kick up a lot of German
German
Shepherd
Shepherds
breeding?
again?
Fortunately, unfortunately, that is what happens. And or even movies, the Dalmatians, and
The
then the shelters were
Dalmatians.
flooded with Dalmatians.
yeah, and they ended up being deaf.
Because I'd like to let people know you can get just about any dog at a shelter. You can get a German
Exactly.
Shepherd there. You can get a Dalmatian. There's so many.
And they're breed-specific rescue groups.
Yeah, so I would like
Yeah.
people to know.
So if you want a
Very
shepherd,
good.
you go on the internet and you search
People-
for German Shepherd Rescue.
Right.
People do not know this. If you want a Maltese, if you want this,
Golden
you want
Retriever,
that.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, just look on the internet and you will find the place. There's a dog for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the mixed breeds. The mixed breeds.
that's
have
my life.
They have such character.
Well, I call them
That's my-
designer dogs. You have a
Yeah.
unique dog, one of a kind.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Like
true.
him.
Look at his ear.
Yeah,
Look at you.
yeah,
Oh, Shane.
it's a baby.
He
I'll tell you,
likes.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Susan.
I was thinking he likes sitting here because he can see you.
Yeah.
He's just staring
Yeah,
at his dad.
yeah, he loves his dad.
Yeah.
I used to. People would come in my shop and say, "Oh, he's just a mutt," and I said, "You know, we're mutts." I said, "I'm Italian and Swedish." You know, I said, "We're mutts." You know?
Well, I'm a purebred. I'm a purebred. Both my parents immigrated.
Really? Oh, are you just the first generation?
First
I'm
generation
I'm
American.
second. I'm
Yeah.
second generation.
Let me tell you a quick story about Mike and Nico, and maybe we can wrap on this happy story if that makes sense. Mike is a veteran who was sent to Animal Friends by his counselor at the Combat Stress Unit at the Veterans Administration, and they're sending us a lot of vets in that regard. And Mike was very shy, and he found his way to Animal Friends, and he didn't talk to anybody. He just went through. But talking about the dogs, you reminded me, talking about dogs finding you. He kept going past this older female boxer mix named Nico, and they connected. But he left. He was too shy to talk to anybody. So when he got back and told that story to his counselor at the VA the next week, the counselor called us, and we arranged for Mike to come out. And it was determined that Mike didn't necessarily need a specially trained dog. But Nico was so sensitive, so we adopted Nico to Mike, got him back home, got him, and any veteran going through Pets for Vets gets the complete starter set. The bed, the collar, the
nice.
Kong, everything. We even stopped and got peanut butter for the Kongs for him. So Mike and Nico live east of Pittsburgh.
There's your daddy.
Mike didn't get out much. He was in the first Iraq War. So he's about 50, and he's not working, and he's fearful, and he's afraid to go out. If somebody comes up behind him, he's jumpy. And Mike also stayed up at night watching TV most of the night because he just didn't sleep well. Well, he called back, and now he calls regularly. But Nico, without training, knew that. And when he would take her out and someone came up behind, Nico would sit in front of him.
Wow.
She sensed.
To let him know.
Just calmed him down, let the person pass, they go on with their walk.
Wow.
Also, Nico likes to go to bed at a regular time, and Mike didn't. So Mike would sit there watching TV, Nico would go up to bed. Mike didn't follow. Nico came down.
It's time
Look
for
at Mike.
bed.
Time for bed.
Go back up to bed. She did it 2 or 3 times. Now Mike's sleeping through the night.
See?
Now, isn't that a neat story?
That
First,
is.
about the dog picking you, and secondly, how intuitive they are.
Yes.
But even more so when there's a more pronounced situation and we train the animal for the unique needs.
Oh, they're angels.
And
I
guess
think that's
what?
a good story to end on.